Hello everyone, I am Dr. Eric Morrison. This is 7 Under 3, and I'll be covering trading education, more specifically Forex trading, using the TC2000 and TradingView platforms. Hello, this is the Forex Week in Review with the 28 majors and minors, and I'll also cover the exotics too as well. We have a nice new table here that kind of gives us the overview going forward. And so to start off with the dollar, we currently have a target of 94.211 to the downside. It's well below the RL270 and the 200 on the weekly, and way past the Z3. So we could see some more weakness, at least until we get to around 100.973. So we'll see what happens when it hits the RL270. And for the most part, the dollar is weakening across the board. For the US dollar, we had a nice run here for the Euro USD. Initial targets here, starting off with the open on Sunday. If you bought at the open with one standard lot, that was $1,880 profit. 3 lots is 3 times that, is about $5,640 overall profit going forward. So the white line here is the close of the previous week, and we had nice momentum to the upside. It's now up against the RL270. We'll see what happens come next week. Euro British Pound also had a great week. Basically up overall $680 on one standard lot, and still has some more room to the upside to the Z3, and momentum is to the upside at this point. So going forward next week, we'll see this to the long side as we do Euro USD. Aussie US dollar was also the long side. Nice profit of $1,006 on the one standard lot, $3,018 on 3 standard lots. Overall, up against the RL270 on the weekly, so there could be some resistance next week. Still biases to the long side. Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar, another good week. $754 on one standard lot, $2,262 on 3 standard lots for Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar. Momentum is to the upside. It still has some more distance to the Z3. Good overall long with the 200 moving day average as support. British pound, Canadian dollar, we have an overall loss of $924, $2,772 on 3 standard lots. Bias is to the downside, and it is also up against the RL270. So bias continues to be to the downside, but we also see some volume to the upside as far as positive volume. We'll see if that continues. US dollar, Japanese yen, one of the best gainers for the week. Profit of $3,050 on one standard lot, $9,150 on 3 standard lots. All biases to the downside. Bias for next week is also to the downside. RL270s into 124.301. So we still have some more room to the downside. Great overall trade on the open. Seeing the Japanese yen, all the Japanese yen pairs pretty much the same thing. $1,591 on one standard lot, $4,775 on 3 standard lots. Bias to the downside, we have a little bit of room before we start hitting the Z3 and the RL270. Bias will be to the downside for next week. British pound, Japanese yen, incredible run too as well, with a profit of $2,479 on one standard lot, $7,439 on 3 standard lots. Looking at up against the RL270, and we have a little bit of distance before the Z3 there too as well, but momentum's to the downside. Something to note also with the British pound, pretty much every industry is also striking there in the UK. You have the teachers, you have the medical professionals, you have everybody going on strike. Pretty much the government is having a problem addressing some of their financial concerns going forward. British pound, Swiss franc was overall loss. We had a loss of $1,099 one standard lot, $3,297 on 3 standard lots. Bias is now to the upside on the RLFF, and so now we will not be trading this next week. British pound, Aussie dollar, profit of $382 one standard lot, $1,146 on 3 standard lots. Bias to the downside and will remain for next week. We have the RL90 at 1.73971. Profit target still is to the upside too as well on the weekly. European Japanese yen, as I said, the Japanese yen pairs did very well. $1,528 on one standard lot, $4,585 on 3 standard lots. Bias to the downside. A lot of space to 133.886 to the downside. Profit target is 113, right? So momentum is to the downside for the Japanese yen pairs. We'll see what happens. Swiss franc Japanese yen also $3,147. One standard lot, $9,441 on 3 standard lots. Wonderful gain throughout the week. I think this may be the biggest gainer here. Incredible gainer. Still has more distance to the Z3 and the RL270. Bias will remain for next week. Canadian dollar Japanese yen. Profit of $2,014 for 1 standard lot and $6,043 on 3 standard lots. Up against the RL270. A little bit of distance to the Z3. Bias will remain for next week. Aussie dollar Japanese yen. Profit of $1,172.88. 1 standard lot, $3,518 on 3 standard lots. Bias will remain for the downside for next week. We had a bias to the downside for British pound US dollar. Had a loss overall of $1,315. 1 standard lot, $3,940 on 3 standard lots. Bias is inconsistent with the trend, so we're taking this off for next week. I'm not trading it. Zealand Canadian dollar, conflicting indicators for next week. Euro Canadian dollar, also conflicting indicators for next week. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, we will go long on this for next week on the weekly. Nice overall positive volume to the upside. Everything else in alignment. Euro Aussie dollar will not trade this next week or last week. Below and consolidating, and currently in this particular C zone, so it's just kind of bouncing back and forth. US dollar Canadian dollar, also no established trend, just bouncing back and forth within a C zone, consolidation zone. US dollar Swiss franc, currently very choppy and consolidating. Will not trade this next week. Canadian dollar Swiss franc, also conflicting signals and consolidating. We'll wait till the trend starts. New Zealand US dollar, also conflicting signals. Look at the size of this C zone. It's up against the RL270 and just kind of hanging out there. No trade for next week. New Zealand Swiss franc, same thing. No trade next week. Consolidating. British pound New Zealand dollar, consolidating. No trade. Euro New Zealand dollar, consolidating. No trade. Euro Swiss franc broke out its consolidation zone. We will be trading this next week to the long side. And Aussie dollar Swiss franc also broke out to the long side. We will be trading this next week and starting to trend. So this looks for the overall trades going into next week. We're long the Euro USD, Euro British pound, Aussie US dollar, Aussie Canadian dollar, Aussie dollar New Zealand dollar, Euro Swiss franc, and Aussie dollar Swiss franc. We're short British pound Canadian dollar, US dollar Japanese yen, New Zealand Japanese yen, British pound Japanese yen, British pound Aussie dollar, Euro Japanese yen, Swiss franc Japanese yen, Canadian dollar Japanese yen, and Aussie dollar Japanese yen. Overall gains for the week on 1 standard lot was $16,348. 3 standard lots was $49,046. Good overall week. If you're interested in trading these kind of strategies, and if you're also interested in auto trading and programming in PineScript and Python, click on the links below. And remember, ruthless risk management. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll see you on Sunday. Well, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like rumble button below and the subscribe button. And if you want more information, go ahead and click the course information links below. On the TradingView link and on TC2000, I have an affiliate link. If you open up a TC2000 account, you will receive a $25 discount using that link. Thank you for your time.